Right then, welcome to Happy Hungry Hippie. I have signed up to the ZOE programme, which is led by Tim Spector. Now, I'm not sure whether you've heard of Tim Spector, but he's brought out many books, of which a few I can name. First of all, he brought out The Diet Myth, The Real Science Behind What We Eat. This was probably about 10 years old now. About 5 years ago, he brought out Spoon Fed, which was really interesting. Why almost everything we've been told about food is wrong. Read these and also listened to the audiobooks. His latest book, which he brought out this year, is Food for Life, which is absolutely brilliant. I really like the chapters in this because it explains bits about an introduction to Food for Life. What is microbiome? Why do we love food? What foods are really healthy? What foods are unhealthy? Can foods boost your immune system? How can we choose better foods? How does storing, processing and cooking alter foods? What can we eat to save the planet? How are we unique as human beings? What is the future of food? So now what do we have for dinner? So yes, many choices out there. Very misleading, lots of misconceptions with things. And what I really like about this book is the part 2, because it breaks down all the key foods, the misconceptions with foods, the myths of foods, a bit similar to what he's covered in some of the other books, but in real detail here. And he goes through all the spectrum of foods, from fruit, vegetables, legumes, aka pulses, cereals, grains, rice, pasta, bread, pastries, biscuits, fungi, mushrooms, meat, processed meats, fish, marine bugs, seafood, milk, fermented dairy, which is really interesting, cheese, dairy alternatives, eggs, sweet treats, nuts and seeds, seasoning herbs and spices. And then last but not least is the liquids, oils and condiments, which is a big chapter because it's a combination of cooking oils and extra virgin olive oil. Part 3 is all your appendices and glossaries and things like that. Essential read, really good. I do recommend for you to read all of these books. You don't have to read them in order, but I do recommend them. Tim Spector has wrote columns within The Guardian, which I'm an avid reader of for quite a long time now. So that's how I heard about this. It took me a few years to sign up to this programme. I do know it's a lot more available now. And here we are, starting the ZOE programme. Science for everybody. So here you have the exclusive code to scan. Then here are the 3 boxes. So first of all I need to do is take out the blood sugar sensor. I actually got this pack a while back and I actually put the muffins into the freezer. So here is the blood sugar sensor. I'm going to open this up. This comes with 2 pads. Comes with a nice little booklet just to tell you what to do, what's in your kit. To go into your app, your sensor pack, your sensor applicator, your patch and your alcohol wipe. So first one is just tells you what it is, how to apply it, pick my date. My date is going to be tomorrow, so I need to apply it now. Your app will tell you when it is time to set up your sensor and follow the step-by-step app instructions. So here I've just applied the sensor here, which is all linked to a special app which Zoe actually give you a subscription for. You go on and put your membership on, and then it tells you a guide, a little video on how to apply it, and it's a little needle, a little pack, and you just put it in and it's sealed. So I'm now going to wait 1 hour just for this to load. It's going to take my glucose sugar levels. So now it's applied, I've actually put on the Zoe pad. Now what this does, it just protects it. If you get in the shower or you're doing exercise or you're sleeping, you lean over, it doesn't knock it off. There's actually 2 of these, so it just really helps, especially if you've got to wear this for 2 weeks. So now that I've applied this, I've got to fast the night before, and I've actually taken the muffins out of the freezer ready to eat. That's it. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I fasted yesterday. I think you're supposed to fast for only 8 hours, but I tend to fast on Mondays. So I had the whole day of the 24-hour fasting, and Last night I applied my blood sensor test kit, which has got a special app for it. I've took 2 measurements, one last night, one automatically during the night, and then one this morning. So my blood range is between 5 to 3 to 4 this morning, and that's from fasting. So it's at the lower range, and it's just gone below that range just once overnight. So your test kit arrives in this, and when you open it up, you have your special scan, which you put the app in, and then you've got 3 specific test kits here. You've got your blood sugar sensor, which I've applied here last night, and then you've got your gut health test, and then you've got your finger prick test. So the blood sugar sensor kit comes in a little box, and then you have this little kit in here, and you take it out and you apply it. It shows you a video how to do it. You apply it, and then you stamp it, and then it applies with a little needle, and that enables you to take your blood sugar levels at any given moment. So you set a reminder to do that every 8 hours. So the second thing you're supposed to do in the morning, it is your gut health test. But you can do this for any time today and tomorrow. Because I fasted for 24 hours, I don't really need the toilet this morning, but I will use this once it's ready. And you've got a nice little book here to explain what to do, and then everything is in here. So you have this kit, which is like a sample test kit with a bag to place it on, and you can take a pea-sized drop and drop it and shake it, and then you've got a prepaid box here to apply and place that in, which I'll show later. Then you've got your finger prick test, which also comes in a nice little yellow box, and this gives you a guide to do, also another test kit, and another sample box, which goes to Eurofins, who are actually an accredited laboratory. I understand that because I work in food manufacturing. So yeah, place that on the side. And then finally, this morning, what's really important is the muffins. Now what I did is, I placed the muffins in the freezer, and I have them now ready. I left them to defrost overnight. The breakfast muffins is what I'm going to have this morning, and then I'm going to do a 4-hour fast, take the tests, and then have my lunch muffins, and then I'm going to proceed with fasting for another 2 hours after that. The first day is really important because there's extensive tests that you need to complete and monitor throughout the day. So now is the time to have the breakfast muffins. So simply keep the packaging because it's got a barcode on. You take this out, and then you microwave this for 20 to 30 seconds. And then once it's done, you need to eat within ideally 15 minutes. Once you've done that, you're supposed to fast for 4 hours, only allowing tea, water or black coffee. So as I'm fasting this morning, I'm just going to help myself to a nice cup of tea. And as you can see, I've got a whole array of different teas to have. I'll put in my nice New York Starbucks cup, and I'm going to have a ginger boost. I'm actually really starving. I've not eaten for over 30 hours, so. Tastes right. Not like the muffins at work, but right then, now for the gut health test. So this is the box. Simply just going to open this up. And here is the guide, which explains to you what to do. Simply open this up. And this comes with a sample pot, which has got a liquid in it. Make sure you don't spill that. Gloves. And also a aim pad. So you basically remove the sticker here, and then you apply. Like so. It's simply got an aiming pot. Here's the guide, and simply what you do is you get this here, you unscrew that, and it's got a little scoop at the bottom, which you scoop a pea-sized parts of your poopy, and then you place back in this, and then you shake this and invert it 10 times. So, day 2. So just giving an insight, we now enter what we call ZOE 101 day 2, which is all part of logging your meals. So it states here, log your meals for the next 2 days. So after your first day, you've taken your poopy sample and also your blood sample, you've sent them away in the free post. There's been lots of tests on that day. It's an initial day, but then the second day is kind of like a freelance day where you can just pretty much do what you want, but make sure you're always constantly scanning this and then looking at your blood sugars. So what I've done now is I've set up a 5-day program to actually do a test. Now, from a set of 5 different staple foods, I've actually chosen some bagels. So what I'm going to do is, first day it asked me to do a single bagel and eat it on its own without butter. I'm just going to simply put that in the toaster. And then the second day, you're going to have the topping, which is a peanut or nut based butter. So I'm going to have 3 tablespoons of that. And then on the third day, you're going to have that combined with on top of your bagel. And what it's going to do is going to look at how your body's breaking down these foods in a simple form of white rice or white bread, and also how it combines with different foods and how that has an impact on your blood sugars. So really fascinating. I'm finding this really, really easy. Every day it gives you a set of things to do to learn about nutrition on a personal level. So today, journal ZOE 101, day 2, sequence your fats effectively, calculating blood fat control, and what is blood control. If you want to just look into adding a meal, you click the plus here, and what you want to understand of a normal diet. And then it gives you a step-by-step guide, and including little videos.
In the ZOE app. Tap the plus icon on the bottom right-hand side. Confirm the time and type of meal you're eating. To add an ingredient, you can search, scan barcodes, or choose from recents and saved foods and recipes. To search for an ingredient, type the name of the ingredient you're looking for. You can choose from branded or non-branded items. To scan an item, tap on the barcode icon and hold your camera over the barcode. When you find the right item, tap on it to add it to your meal and enter the quantity you're eating. You can add more ingredients to your meal by tapping Add New. When your meal is complete, you can add a photo and save it to your journal. And that's how you log your meals in the ZOE app. Tap the plus icon on the bottom right-hand side.
And there we go. So I've just clicked the plus, and breakfast, it's now 6:40. What you can do is you can actually scan the barcode. So, and there we go, Warburton's 5 plain bagel. Click OK. I'm just going to have 1 bagel, save quantity. You can even take a photo of it. So there you go. And then I'm going to save the breakfast. And then what that does is it saves your food diary of what you're eating throughout the day. And simply what I'm going to do is I'm just going to eat my bagel. Not easy without any butter on. I don't use butter anyway. I would normally add Marmite or a peanut butter or even a cashew cream cheese. I try not to eat dairy. And other than this 5-day experiment, I'm going to be eating normal throughout the day. I'm doing a study, I'm looking at all the different food types and food combinations of how that can have an impact, including exercise as well, the impact of all different types of foods. Check out. So, back for ZOE day 3. As part of this little experiment, the first day of the official diet program and food diary, I had to have 1 whole bagel. So I basically toasted that, and then the second day I had to have 3 tablespoons of peanut butter. Peanut butter is about 50% fat, of which about 12% of that is carbs. Half of that, again, 6%, is of sugars, natural sugars. They're quite high in protein, so about a quarter of this is protein. It's almost reminded me of what it would be like to have, to be on a keto diet and a life without carbs. To eat peanut butter on its own, it's not particularly pleasant. The vehicle of eating of carbs has a purpose really in our diet, and I'm a strong believer in pro carbs because carbs are actually good for your gut health, in particular the more complex carbs. I've actually covered a video on sugars and carbohydrates. There's a lot of misconceptions with that, so please check that out. So in general, what I'm doing now, I'm just eating normal. I'm going to not eat anything for the next 2 to 3 hours just to see how my blood sugars react to this. And then I'm just going to eat a normal diet, and experiment in the things I have to see how my body reacts to different foods. Okay, so day 3. Right then, in terms of progress for my Zoe program, this is the journey that I'm on. So I've tested my biology at 101 and I'm now up to 102, which is about the blood sugar challenge. So for the past couple of days, I've actually opted to choose a specific carb and a specific fat. A stage now where it's a novice, so it says you've covered the basics. And the thing is with the Zoe program is you can choose however much you want to do. So I'm going to try and do as much as I can to the pro sort of expert level, but it just means you're doing a lot more things, a lot more challenges and studies. You can actually just do the absolute basics, which is just testing your excrement and also your blood sugars. You need to really try and make the most of this if you can. So simply, I'm just going to go off here. It says day 2, but I'm actually on day 5. From the carbs, I've actually chosen a white bagel. So you can choose various things from white pasta to white rice to white bread, but I've actually chosen a bagel. So on day 1, I've just had a plain bagel in the morning, and then you allow yourself to fast for 3 hours. This morning, I've had 3 tablespoons of the peanut butter on its own, and then I'm now fasting for 3 hours. So this is actually telling me now, it's now 20 past 10 in the morning on Sunday, and it's now telling me that I fast up until 10:50, another half an hour. And then what I'll do is I'll check my blood sugars. If you scroll up here as well, this is where it tells you to do your blood sugar challenge. So click on that and it will tell you simply what to choose from. And these are the options. So first of all, you've got nut butter, avocado, almonds, ham, bacon, cheddar cheese, or plain full fat Greek yogurt. I've chosen the nut butter. So really good, because you can actually look at what day you're on by coming down here. You can look at what we've done historically throughout each day. You put in the food diary of everything you've had. And on day 3 here, again, you've got all your exercises, so every day you've got something. So let's look at Monday next week. So Monday, again, I've got the blood sugar challenge. Tomorrow, I'll be combining the bagels with the 3 tablespoons of the peanut butter, and that's what's going to show me. And what I'll do is I'll share with you the blood sugars, because that's on a separate app. So that's it for day 5. Right, I'm back. So I've actually done my 2-week Zoe program, and I've officially removed my sensor. A little bit sad really. Did really enjoy monitoring my blood glucose, but in particular doing all the challenges that it set me out to do. It is very difficult to do some of these, and it also takes up the time, because every time you have something, you've got to do the 3-hour fast, and then you've got to study. So even if you're just comparing milk chocolate to dark chocolate, you've got to set that time aside to do that, and then also eradicate anything else that you're going to have during that day. So now the challenge I found most interesting was looking at the apple cider vinegar ACV, which really had an impact. And it was just fascinating to see that through an actual study of myself and looking at the science of it. And it was clear that every time I had apple cider vinegar before a meal, it actually brought down my blood glucose, and just proves the study that it does actually really help with things like diabetes and also for general weight loss. So I would not recommend really to just use it as a diet functional ingredient, but just to aid and support that. The ultimate thing is just to reduce portion sizes and things like that. You've also got to look at the root cause of what's causing that, which is the sugars you're eating in itself. But yeah, the ingredients, I mean, I found a massive difference between just having dairy milk, milk chocolate against dark chocolate. I found the sequencing of foods to have a real impact. I found the timings of the foods, exercise afterwards. Now, because I've actually studied nutrition, really didn't have that much benefit and bring in that much knowledge that I already knew. But what was absolutely key is finding the individual foods that had a real impact. So for example, what I realized with bagels and white bread is that had a real impact on my sugar levels. That spiked. What I tend to do is really try and avoid things like white bread, white rice and those kind of things, and then always try to increase by having wholemeal or things like rye bread or dark sour bread and things like that. Yeah, really fascinating. Although my 2 weeks is over, I've now reached what they call ZOE 103, and this is the stage where they're going to come back to me with my gut health analysis and they're going to look at these things. But every single day, really loved the app and the way it brought little videos and sequences and you know, things to look at, and they ask you questions. I'm really interested to see what they've looked at and what they're going to come back to me with, because one of the challenges I really found with the actual sensor is that it did cut out every now and then, and I wasn't able to read some of the information and it had an error on it. I'm going to give them some feedback on that. But overall, it was an absolutely amazing experience. I'm just, like I say, I'm looking forward to coming back with the data, the information. And I'm really intrigued to know how they're going to pick that information off that and look at the things I actually put on my actual food diary and whether they link that up, because it's a hell of a challenge doing that if they can do it. For me, it was really a real challenge going back, looking at him. So I'm really intrigued to know that. So yeah, when I look at the ZOE app, you can see here, it's just loading. So basically, it showed me now that I removed the sensor. And then here we are, intro, welcome to ZOE 103. And then this is where we're going to look at the lesson about discovering your gut garden. So although this is over, there is a lot more to do over the coming days, if not weeks. So welcome ZOE 103. Yes, and although you finished your ZOE test, now they're going to work hard on my results. In the meantime, we'll work together to start expanding your plant diversity to give your gut bacteria a head start. So let's go. In this course, you'll dive deep into the beautiful world of your gut bacteria and learn all there is to know about the foods they love. So your main goals for ZOE 103 are to start diversifying your diet, build up to eating at least 30 different plants a week. Might sound difficult, but it's actually not too hard. That might sound a lot, but we'll introduce you 7 key strategies to making you hit these goals much easier. And in this course, you can look forward to learning about what makes your gut bacteria special. Just remember, where there's bad bacteria, there's good bacteria. Why diversifying your diet is so important, how the foods you eat impact your gut bacteria, how we're analysing your gut microbiome. So why aim for 30 different plants a week? The American Gut Project looked at poop samples from 10,000 people from around the world. And what did they find? Researchers discovered that people who ate 30 different plants a week had a more diverse mix of gut bacteria than those who ate less than 10 a week. So how do you feel about reaching this goal? Well, I'm feeling ready. On my YouTube channel, I do promote a whole food plant-based lifestyle, and I've covered many recipes on that, and that's what I try to do myself. So yeah, I feel like I'm ready. So A. That's great to hear, James. Eating 30 different plants a week doesn't happen overnight. That's why we help you expand your plant diversity one step at a time through a mixed series of mini challenges over the next few weeks. Interesting. So as you start eating more plants and expanding your diet diversity, you may start to notice your pooping habits changing for the better. Now, this might sound really interesting, but my gran, who really was my inspiration for studying nutrition, she lived to a very ripe age of 108. She only just passed away this year. I have very vivid memories of when I used to visit my gran when I was younger, between the ages of 5 and 12. And my brother and I at breakfast used to go to the toilet, and she used to tell us not to flush the toilet, and she'd go up and inspect our poop, you know? And yeah, you may think this is really strange, but actually you can tell a lot about what your poop and the texture looks like. Obviously, this goes into a lot more detail. So yeah, you might even feel less hungry, more energetic, and generally better, which is the whole principle of it. So what counts as a plant? Well, fruits, vegetables, leafy greens, nuts, seeds, whole grains and legumes are absolutely relevant. Over the next few weeks, make a note of how many different type of plants you're eating. Do you think that you'll give this a try? Yes, I'm already there, I know that. And that's why I'm expecting my gut flora to be actually quite good. I'm intrigued, really intrigued to know my answers and also to compare them against other people. So that's great to hear, sounds good. So that's all, that's my lesson. So this is the 103. The next to-do list, because this is Zoe 103, day 3. Now let's look at the journey that I've been on. So you look at the top here, this is when I first got the kit. 101, test your biology. That's what I did on day 1. Blood sugar challenge, that's what I've done over the 2 weeks. Now 103 is reset your gut. And then it goes on to 201, get to know your scores when they send me my results. 202, fundamental foods. 203, master food combinations. Optimize your days, supercharge your gut, expand your diet, master your biology cues, and this is really good. So another lesson I've got today is discover your gut garden, and I've really read some interesting books on gut. There's an actually really good book about 10 years old by Gillian Enders, and it's called Gut, the undiscovered and underrated organ of your body. Absolutely brilliant book. It's essential reading that. And obviously all the books that Tim Spector has done as well. So hello James, by now you probably know that your gut is home to trillions of tiny bacteria that all play an important role in your health. In this lesson, you'll discover what makes those bugs so special. Let's get started. Which of these things are linked to your gut bacteria, heart health, food preferences, immune health, blood fat responses? For me, it's all the above. Yes, that's right. Your gut bacteria are linked to everything from heart health preferences to your immune health, blood sugar and fat responses eating. But how do these tiny bacteria have such a huge impact on your health? Let's find out. You're a gardener, and even if you don't have a green thumb to prove it, that's because your gut microbiome is like a garden that you're responsible for. Why is that? So as a gut gardener, you need to make sure your environment, your gut flora and lower intestine, that your plants, your gut bacteria grow in, they're healthy and contains plenty of nutrients. This is also why it's really important, if you're on medication and you're taking things like antibiotics and things like that, it's really important to increase the pre and probiotics, because, you know, prebiotics is the fertilizer. It's the thing that stimulates the gut flora that's already in your gut. Whereas probiotics is adding the good bacteria back in. So lots of science on pre and probiotics, more convincing on the pre. There is more science coming out now to prove that that works. But yeah, but if you have antibiotics, make sure that you have lots of probiotics, and also try and avoid having them. I know it's difficult. So here we go. You need to water and feed your garden with your gut bacteria with fertilizer, prebiotic fibers, as I was mentioning. To do this, you can also sow new seeds, probiotics in your garden, as I've just explained. So let's start with the plants. The microbes in your gut include fungi, viruses, yeast and other microorganisms. Yes, they've coexisted with us before we even were on this planet. We evolved with, and if not from, these microorganisms. But bacteria are the most notable inhabitants. Because your lifespan is short, bacteria can adapt to environments change rapidly. So in 2013, a study published in Nature found that making dietary changes can influence gut microbiome composition within just a few days. The health and diversity of your gut flora are linked to your health. Absolutely. There's old sayings where you talk about you've got that gut feeling. Your gut actually does speak to your brain, you know, and it's fascinating because they're proving now that, you know, the microbiome you've got going on in your gut really has a major impact on you psychologically and healthy, and also your immune system. It's just so many things. So our research published in Nature Medical has linked 30 key gut bacteria species with many different markers of health, including blood sugar and sugar metabolism, heart health, risk measures, body fat and weight. So it goes on here to just name some of the good bacteria. So Bifidobacterium and Anamyces, which helps protect your gut barrier and linked to high insulin sensitivity, you know, and it also goes on to other things. Other things are bad, are things like Clostridium leptum. Clostridium is a real bad pathogen, which is linked to high levels of visceral fat and lower polyunsaturated fat levels. So yeah, the mix of good and bad is unique. So then it tells us how to fertilise your garden, adding lots of fibre, really important. Polyphenols, also polysaccharides, complex carbs is what we call fibre. So good bugs tend to love minimally processed plant foods that contain tons of prebiotic fibres. For example, asparagus, artichokes, lentils, those kind of things, really high. On higher levels of bad gut bugs tend to be linked to higher processed foods that don't contain much fibre. Things like crisps, chips, very processed milk chocolate. So you'll discover your own personalised gut boosters when your results are ready. But in the meantime, we'll help you start diversifying your diet to give your gut bugs a head start. So don't forget to sprinkle on new seeds. And what I mean by that is probiotic foods like live fermented yogurts, kefir, kimchi, lots of good live bacteria and yeast that are beneficial to your body. Eating small quantities of these foods regularly help seed your gut with new types of bugs. We don't yet know how to add more to specific good gut bugs. The evidence isn't quite there yet, but it's too conclusive. The best thing you can do though is to support the good gut bugs that you already have there. So how do you feel about this? I'm quite excited, so I've just ticked that. That's great to hear. We'll equip you with the knowledge and tools that will help you grow a healthy and diverse gut garden, and that's today's lesson. Submit. So this is what you kind of do from a day-to-day basis. You've got your app and you're going through all those steps. So you can also look ahead. So what I'm going to be doing tomorrow is looking at lesson is diversify your diet, and a challenge, add new plants to your plate. And there it is. So anyway, really hope you've enjoyed the insight and guide into using the ZOE program. Have been really impressed with the program, the apps, the guides and everything. So this is part 1 of the ZOE. And in part 2, what I'll be doing is I'll be showing you all my results and actually my feedback, or whether I would actually giving you a full review of whether I think it's worth the money, and also an insight into what I got from it in terms of everything that I've learned, whether I would actually keep on paying for the program. I've actually been on this program for over 6 months now, and since that time we've got a lovely little puppy, little Harvey here. So it's yes, he's been very mischievous. So he's actually been trying to get in my good books right now. He's definitely trying to get around me now, because he's been a very bad boy. He's been chasing him around the garden. He's eating a snail. Not whether that's good for his gut health, but anyway, I'm sure it won't harm him. So really do hope you stay tuned for part 2. Really be looking forward to releasing my results and also my feedback for the review. Do also recommend for you to listen to the podcast. Absolutely brilliant. There was something on mushrooms recently, which I've actually covered a video on that. Absolutely brilliant insight. So really do hope you subscribe. Lots of love and passion going into this. Also check out my playlist for other nutritional insights and things that I've covered. I have studied a Bachelor of Science of Nutrition, so this is something that I am really passionate about. Although I do cover healthy recipes, I do like doing the odd video. So stay healthy everyone, and look, please do comment below for what your feedback is. So take care everyone, enjoy, bye. Bye bye from Harvey.